Greetings and welcome to this very special mindfulness series, which we are calling Healthy Habits to Get the Most Out of Every Moment, taking place every Wednesday in September, 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm John Roberts, Operations Manager for Mindfulness-Based Learning at Point 32 Health and its family of companies, including Harvard Pilgrim Healthcare and Tufts Health Plan. Now, in this series, we've been introducing and unpacking practices to support you in feeling energetic, vital, and confident throughout every phase of your life. Each week's session has a theme, and this week's theme is all about befriending your body, even when it's having a bad day. In a few minutes, we'll introduce a guided meditation practice related to this theme. Later on, it will give you an additional practice which you can do in the flow of your everyday life. And our guide in all of this is Kell Julliard. Kell, who was Director of Clinical Research for the Family Health Centers at NYU Langone, during which time he published multiple peer-reviewed papers on the benefits of mindfulness practice. Now, currently, Kell teaches mindfulness for Turgar International, as well as for Point 32 Health's own Mind the Moment program. Welcome to you, Kell.
Thanks, Sean. Always great to be here with you and our participants.
Now, Kell, the theme of last week's session was forging strong and lasting connections, and the flow of life practice or challenge that you shared with us at the end of the session was this. You asked us to choose a time when we knew we would be conversing with someone, and then deciding that during that conversation, we were going to be fully listening to what the other person had to say, not thinking about what we would be saying next or letting our minds wander. So if folks had a chance to try this technique out, we'd love to hear about it from you. Please open up the chat. Let us know how it went. Who did you choose to try this out with? What may have surprised you? And we'll get back to your comments a little bit later. Kell, let me tell you how this went for me. First of all, I had this fear that if I wasn't formulating the thing that I was going to say next in the conversation, that when the other person paused or stopped talking, it was going to look like I hadn't been listening, because all I would have to offer them was a blank stare. So I decided I needed a strategy. And what my strategy was having a thing to say that would buy me some time while I considered an appropriate response. And I decided the thing that I would say was, "Thank you for sharing that." And I figured by the time that I was done saying, "Thank you for sharing that," I would have thought of something more interesting to add. But what tended to happen surprised me a little bit. When I said, "Thank you for sharing that" to the other person, it triggered them to keep going and to actually get deeper into what they'd already been saying. So in the end, I learned more about what the other person was trying to tell me than if I had just thrown out some random response or tried to interject too soon.
That's great, Sean. But I want to say a word regarding the fear that you'll have a blank stare. You know, it's interesting when we're really listening to someone else, a range of expressions pass across our face really spontaneously, from like a smile to concern to nodding in agreement. Listening's really a much more alive process than you might at first think. Um, but the whole idea of this flow of life practice is to be more present for those we interact with and actually for ourselves as well. So I'll be interested to hear about our participants' experiences. I know for me, being really present like that not only deepens my relationship with the other person, but I actually enjoy the conversation more. I feel more peaceful and connected with myself as well as with the other person. And I think that experience may be shared by many, even for challenging conversations.
Hmm, beautiful. Well, Kell, just moving on to our topic today, I'm hoping I might ask you to lead us in a guided meditation of, let's say, about 12 minutes in length. And I'm hoping that you'll begin that meditation by saying a few words about how the practice you'll be leading us in can help us move through some of the changes in our lives, especially those changes that involve moving from a place of relative physical or mental comfort to places or times of discomfort or even pain.
Well, of course, change, discomfort, and pain itself are a part of life. They're inevitable for all of us. but they don't need to take over our world and crowd out our awareness of what is positive. The meditation we're about to do is simple, and yet I believe it will help us maintain balance and a healthy frame of mind as we move through change and discomfort. So, in this practice, we're actually going to experience several ways of working with discomfort within this one practice. So, we'll do that without creating an adversarial relationship with it. So, in a sense, we're befriending our discomfort. So, afterwards, you might have some insight into which of these ways that we worked with feels best for you. So, let's go ahead and move into our meditation. So begin by finding a posture that really supports you in being present in this moment. Body relaxed, spine comfortably upright. You can be sitting, standing, or lying down. Your eyes can be open or closed. All of these are valid options you can choose from. So in this moment, simply know that you're aware and alive. See if you can drop a sense of doing. We've been doing all day. Now, just let yourself be. Let the natural exhale of each breath take you deeper into relaxation, deeper into being. Ah. We're resting in what's called open presence or open awareness. That means simply knowing that we're aware in this moment, not blocking thoughts, feelings, or sensations of any kind, and yet not chasing after them either. At any point when you realize that you've been lost in thoughts and emotions, perhaps absorbed in thoughts about the past or the future, at the moment you realize this, you're already back in awareness. You're already present. So celebrate that, because coming back to the present is like a bicep curl for your brain. Now, probably sensations, thoughts, and emotions are coming and going. Just notice how awareness accepts any of these experiences that arise. Also, as you rest your mind in the present moment like this, you might experience awareness recognizing itself, just knowing you're aware. It's quite simple. Knowing you're aware of thoughts, feelings, and sensations, you also know that you're aware in this moment. And all of that, any of that, is meditation. Now let's bring awareness to our posture, the position of your body in space, the feeling of your arms, your legs, your trunk, your head. Do this in a relaxed way, just noticing the general feeling of your body, the sense of being physically present. Now pick an area of focus. Bring your awareness to any feeling in your body that is neutral or pleasant. It could be the feeling of your hands resting in your lap or your feet on the floor. It could be your body moving as you breathe. See if you can notice the actual sensations coming from that part of the body you've chosen to focus on. Now see if you can find within that field of awareness of your body some area of mild discomfort. It could be where your body is pressing against the chair or the cushion, or perhaps you notice some tension somewhere in your body. Just know that you're experiencing this sensation. You don't need to analyze it or push it away. Actually allow the discomfort to support you in being present and aware. Now, see if a feeling or an emotion or a mood has arisen as a result of experiencing the discomfort. This often happens in life. So, if this is happening now, just bring awareness to that mood or emotion or feeling. It's like the emotion is floating down a river and you're watching it from the riverbank. You're aware of it, but not identified with it. Now, notice if the emotion or mood is actually intensifying the discomfort or reducing its intensity or neither. Whatever is happening is okay. Just notice how the emotion and the discomfort may or may not be interacting. And in noticing this, perhaps you can also be aware that awareness itself is larger than the emotion and the discomfort. It contains both of them with room to spare. Now try broadening your awareness to come back to your body as a whole, like we did at the beginning of the meditation. Just getting a sense of your physical presence, your posture, and space. Your awareness can accommodate your whole body and not be hijacked just to focus on what's uncomfortable. So don't lose track of the discomfort, but keep it in the context of your experience of being physically present as a whole person. Now, at last, feel free to shift position if that will make you a little more comfortable. And as you do this, just know you're moving. By knowing you're moving, your awareness and your meditation remain unbroken. Now we're coming to the end of this meditation. So just let yourself drop the focus on the body, on discomfort. Drop any sense of doing. And again, let yourself just be, knowing that you're aware and alive in this moment. Rest in the spaciousness of awareness itself. Okay, that concludes our meditation.
I saw from earlier, Kel, we had somebody commenting on the conversation practice we were talking about at the top of the session. The person said, I found that when I am really listening, it helps the other person say what they need to say. It keeps them on track and builds trust. So I thought that was a wonderful,
It's
wonderful follow-up.
beautiful. That's so beautiful. And in my experience, so true.
Now, Kel, I have a couple questions if you don't mind. The meditation that you just led us in, is this what we refer to when we talk about the body scan meditation, or is there a difference between a more traditional body scan and what we might have done today?
This was actually much freer than the traditional body scan. With the traditional body scan, you're bringing awareness to parts of your body sequentially. So if you start at the top of your head, you'd feel the sensations there, move down, feel those sensations, move down, feel those. And you're really tuning into what's going on, what you're feeling in each part of your body. So here, we were getting a sense of the body as a whole, which is different from scanning. And then we were focusing on discomfort, specifically. So a little bit different. And if you don't mind, John, on this topic of what we did today, just to highlight and reinforce the different components of this meditation so people can kind of check in about what they liked, maybe what worked for them best. First, we use discomfort itself as just a support for being present. So, because it's often vivid, it can really help us meditate just by bringing awareness to the discomfort. Then we notice any feelings that arise in response to the discomfort, how they're different from the discomfort, not getting lost in them. We don't have to get lost in them. And we looked a little bit at this idea, I didn't say this, but of the booster, how actually the feelings can intensify our discomfort. If we're anxious about the feeling, I know for me, I often feel like, oh, I got to move because I'm so uncomfortable. And those judgments really, actually intensify the discomfort. So bringing awareness to feelings can be really helpful. And then putting the discomfort in the context of our experience of our whole body can often put it back in perspective so it doesn't hijack our awareness.
Gil, I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to ask, is there any danger that this kind of practice could backfire, where you're already feeling some discomfort and then you actually start feeling more discomfort? And is there a danger that might discourage people from wanting to even do this?
So that's why I wanted to give several different ways of working with this, because yes, you always want to be guided in every meditation practice by your inner wisdom. So if something negative is ramping up and getting more intense, then you've got a decision to make. Do I switch practices? Typically, trying something different is the best strategy. If your inner wisdom says, this is starting to not feel good. But sometimes working with discomfort can actually be very liberating, so that we're not constantly run around and controlled really by our experience of our discomfort or pain.
So this isn't a situation where we should just be gritting our teeth and just grinding through it.
Never in meditation, never. If it's not serving you, try something different.
So somebody says they had mild discomfort in their back, but the practice helped them be with that feeling and find some balance related to it, rather than being thrown off or resisting it. So that's sounds like they're doing it right. Somebody else says that they're experiencing the backfire right now because they're having trouble letting go of the focus on the discomfort. And actually, that's an interesting point. Is there any chance that this could sort of follow you out of the meditation in a way that then could have some, unintended consequences, perhaps?
Well, I think that's something you want to monitor in your life. And it's like an earworm, a song that plays in your head over and over and over again. So I think one of the things we're going to be mentioning is bringing awareness to something pleasant, a feeling in your body that feels good. Certainly, if this is a risk for you, rather than bringing awareness to the discomfort, shifting position, alleviating the discomfort sooner rather than later is a good idea. And those people who are dealing with chronic pain, I suggest getting some kind of help from a person who's an expert in this, because there are lots of ways to apply meditation in working with chronic pain or more serious discomfort. And having some professional guidance is important in those respects.
Well, Kel, so we know, of course, from research that doing guided meditations like the one that you just led us in most days of the week can confer a number of benefits. And we'd invite folks to go back to the recording of this session later if they'd like to do this meditation that you led us in today as many times as they would like. But for those of us who don't always have 12 minutes a day or even 5 minutes a day to set aside to meditate, can you suggest a practice that we might do, not to the side of our everyday lives, but rather in the flow of our everyday lives?
Sure. And we get benefit from these practices done in the flow of life, just like our formal practice. They really reinforce one another. And the practices in the flow of life help us bring meditation into the benefits of meditation into our lives as a whole. So this is actually really important. This week, we're all going to experience some pain or discomfort. That's about the only thing I can guarantee. So you might stub your toe, you might not have a good night's sleep and feel run down the next day. You might be having some kind of longer term pain from some new or old injury. Um, how we relate to pain can really change our experience of it. So this week, whenever a feeling of pain or discomfort arises on its own, here are some things to try, any of these. First, just bring awareness to this discomfort. Simply know you're feeling it. Awareness itself is inherently peaceful. And when you bring that meditative awareness to the discomfort, it's like it's surrounded by a space of awareness. So there is an immediate benefit that you can experience just from that. Then you can broaden your awareness to include neutral or pleasant sensations happening somewhere else at the same time in your body. It's not like you're pushing the discomfort away. It's just like you're expanding to recognize other dimensions of your experience. So one example would be to notice that your hands and feet feel pretty good, or to create a pleasant sensation like, rubbing your hands together in a nice way, or putting your hand on your heart, for instance. The key point is awareness is always bigger than the pain or discomfort you're experiencing. And then lastly, looking for the booster of our experience of the discomfort. Is there a belief or an emotion that's magnifying that? And I could give an example of that, but maybe we'll do that next week when we come back to this.
All right.
Let's see what people experience, and then
Ooh,
we'll
a
talk about
cliffhanger. I love it.
Cliffhanger.
So, well, if folks do have a chance to try this technique out this week, we'd love it if you would, then we'd love to hear about it. Please connect with us on our Facebook page. Let us know how it's going. Also, another question that we'd love to hear comments on from you on our Facebook page. What's one thing you used to enjoy doing that you can't imagine doing now? Or what's one thing you enjoy doing now that your younger self would not believe you're doing today? We'd love to hear from you about that as well. So, Kell, thank you so much for your guidance today. Really appreciate having you with us as always. Now, I will be joining my friend Tara Healy at the mindfulness practice session, which she'll be leading this Thursday morning. That's tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. In that session, we'll be talking about what folks have been posting on our Facebook page lately. So please do join us for that. You can find the link on our Living Well at Home webpage. And while you're there, check out our other resources related to staying physically and mentally engaged with your life, no matter what stage of life you happen to be living through. Those include yoga classes, strength training classes, Zumba classes, and webinars on topics such as healthy eating. Now, before we leave, a quote, if I may, from the writer Anne Lamott, who said the following in an interview, quote, your inside person doesn't age. Your inside person is soul, is heart, is in the eternal now, the ageless, the old, the young, all the ages you've ever been. Having said that, I wish people had known more about sunscreen in the 1960s, end quote. Thank you, Anne Lamott. And thanks again to you, Kell Julliard. We'll be back next week, again with Kell, one last session in this series, to do a little more exploring of what it means to stay mindfully engaged in every moment, in every stage of life. See you then, and until then, have a wonderful week.